Hello guys, so I have done a few guides by now which usually contain a bit of a monotone setting while still hopefully being easy to work with. That said, I thought I'd maybe try to see if I can use some more lighthearted things in them. If this is not what people enjoy, I have no problem going back to the original format and I appreciate the feedback given to me in the comments. Let's begin. The Romero 77. Hunt Showdown's literal noob tube, easy to learn and use, cheap as hell and at times ridiculous versus its more advanced counterparts. While it has only one shot per reload, that shot has the power of God in it and makes it so that the Romero 77 is the longest range shotgun while also having the highest consistency to boot and coming with a whole suite of custom ammo options to choose from. All in all, this gun can be a pain to fight and at times may leave one questioning life when your Croc silencer Dolch loadout gets ended by a pipe stuck to some woods with a shell shoved inside.
How?
Watch out, Marty, watch out.
Ow.
Don't push it, and he's dead.
From the right,
I'm
big
gonna get
guy.
him. Oh,
Yep.
from the right.
I'll be back.
I didn't. Okay. I did not know they were coming from the right. That cop-out was a little too late.
You've just been erased.
Yeah, from here, be careful.
Give it a button, down.
Hey pal, you just blowing from Stupid Town?
Holy shit.
Carrying ONG.
Let's get to the stats. The base Romero has high damage per shot, long range, a decent ammo reserve, and the ability to carry two ammo types into battle, switching them with the switch fire mode key X by default on PC. Its drawbacks are only one shot per reload and the obvious lack of an ability to do follow-up shots in most cases. Well, how do you play this pipe of death? Well, usually you should be at the front of the engagement, making use of flanks and trying to sneak up on the enemies to either set up an ambush behind cover or pushing out of cover to take an enemy by surprise, since you have the ability to one-shot enemies for about 30 meters, allowing you to win any gunfight within that range, unless the enemy headshots you or kills you in other ways, or you miss your shot or hit any of the extremities which reduce your damage. It is also important to remember that due to it being a shotgun, offense can be your best defense. For example, if a close enemy gets distracted, pushed into a corner, or even tries to hit you with a throwable, in those situations you can try to push out of your position and land a shot on them in close ranges. Hip fire is best since it gives you a mobility advantage over the enemy, while aiming may serve you well at short to medium ranges and for slugs. Let's talk about the other two full-length Romero variants before we move on to the shorty ones. The Romero Talon is just a straight upgrade to the base Romero, allowing you to be more aggressive than the base one and letting you fall back on the Talon melee attack if you miss your shot, and you can close the gap to kill an enemy in short range, since the Talon is a one-shot knife attached to your stock, if used with a heavy blow. But you obviously lose your ability to attack immolators unless you want to go up in flames like the f***ing Ghost Rider. The Romero Alamo is more user-friendly Romero base, coming with an Alof's auto-loading magazine with a 5-round capacity. This mechanism takes away your ability to use two ammo types, but automatically reloads the gun once you fire a shot, meaning you can focus on movement without worrying about not reloading. It is good for beginners since it helps with Hunt's manual reload mechanic, which needs you to press R whenever you need to reload to actually reload your gun. Once you learn the game though, I'd say just stick to the basic Romero or the Talon, since the two ammo utility in my opinion outweighs the comfort of the Alamo, even with its higher price, combined with its higher price and the availability of other repeating shotguns. The Romero hand cannon or shorty is a cut down Romero which now fits a 2-slot space, either allowing the use of another 2-slot weapon or, when used with Quartermaster, being able to be used with a full-length rifle or other weapon. It trades off range, ammo and some consistency for becoming a potential secondary for use with rifles, in case you may need to defend yourself in a pinch. It really doesn't like range and you should try to stick to CQC with it. The Romero hatchet is an improved shorty and should be played over it, since it does come with a backup hatchet strapped to it, which allows you to cave in anyone's thick skull that thinks he needs to F around and find out, or perhaps feel safe in that little corner he's sitting in. For ammo types, there is normal buckshot, which is the most reliable of all, and gives you solid range, hipfire, and damage, as well as usually being the most solid pick for your first ammo slot, or even in the first hours of the game. Then I'll just talk about an ammo you really shouldn't use unless you for some reason really want its utility, and that ammo is Star Shell, also known as Flare. While it can be used to ignite dead or even alive players, it does no real damage to them and can at max maybe be used for indirect kills, to for example ignite red and yellow barrels instantly, or to maybe serve as a light source in case you need to push into dark spaces or fight at night. Next on the list is Dragon's Breath. While a funny ammo to use due to its sharing its ability with Flare, but losing out on a lot of range in the process, it actually does damage against players, although its range is much lower than normal buckshot and its consistency is lower than even ammos such as penny shot, which we'll talk about in a minute. Its main utility is burning an enemy player in combat, blowing up barrels and burning dead hunters without having to switch off your weapon or using a throwable flame tool or consumable. It also is funny to just blind enemies with the power of light, since at night suddenly being engulfed in flames is not really the most calming thing to happen. Next on the list is Penny Shot. Penny Shot gives you higher base damage per pellet for fewer pellets and more ammo, trading off range and the ability to pierce walls, just like Dragon's Breath or Flare, for that raw power, which also causes your spread to be very erratic due to you now firing bulky coins instead of round balls, or solid slugs for example. These meme rounds can be funny to use, especially since they play the sound of coins flying whenever you fire, which does feel pretty comedic and makes it quite funny to delete people with coins traveling at Mach Jesus. Slug ammo basically loads one giant projectile into your shotgun, increasing your kill range by a bit and making sure that all your possible damage hits the target. It also improves wall penetration and lets you more easily aim specifically in cluttered spaces, with the drawback of losing your hipfire advantage since you now only fire one pellet with pretty much the same hipfire spread, so it does become less reliable in that regard. Now let's talk about which ammo to use with what. The base Romero and its shorty and the Talon and Hatchet should be played either double base buckshot and slug, or any assortment of custom ammos that fit your niche. For example, you can switch out one of these slots for Dragon's Breath to ignite hunters dead or alive, or to mark them in dark areas since they'll glow from the burning, useful at night or in dark spaces. Or you could for example run Penny Shot to be more quickly done with bosses, or increase your CQC lethality against for example a charging melee player, since your shot spreads out more, although the lack of wall penetration of both these ammos may screw you when you hit even the smallest obstruction or object, so use them with caution. The Alamo should only really be played with base ammo. While some may use slugs, I just simply feel that there are better guns available to you, plus you can just use the base Romero for that while having access to the Talon melee option in case your slug misses. The Hatchet and Hand Cannon are either a defensive secondary or a nasty surprise in case the enemy gets too comfy in the corner they're sitting in, and once you close the range, they're just cooked. In short, the long Romeros are aggressive or defensive shenanigans, either cornering or surprising enemies, or using them to sit in the corner or ambush location to just blast their face all the way to Timbuktu as soon as they peek that sorry ass around the corner. It is a one-hit wonder up till 13 meters with base buckshot, and with slugs till 15 meters, although the consistency varies at 15 meters, since even a slight increase will just not cause the slug to one-shot. The short ones are great for plan B, if the enemy is trying to push you, or if the enemy thinks they're safe in the corner just because they heard you shoot a rifle at them and are now trying to hold an angle on you. Thanks for watching, and check out the Hunt Showdown Bread Knife of Death in the next episode of my guide. Have a nice day.
Throwing dynamite.